Hello everyone, it's me, Cosplay Pro. Things you're gonna need: blue t-shirt or blue fabric, yellow ribbon or yellow fabric, a white color from a white t-shirt, white sleeves, probably from a white t-shirt. Maybe if you make those yourself, those are things you're gonna need. The blue shirt you're gonna cut down the center. I made my shirt, so and then the sleeves, you just cut the sleeves off of the white shirt and sew them on. But I made those myself, and we're gonna get your sewing machine ready. With the shirt, you're gonna have your sleeves on the inside of the shirt when your shirt's inside out, and you're going to have the white material, I believe, actually white thread on the bottom, because that's going to be on the inside of your shirt, and the blue thread at the top of your sewing machine. So when your bobbin, which is your white thread, will be going on the side with the white shirt, so it won't leak through and it won't look like you have blue thread on it. So you're going to slide your white sleeve over the end of your sewing machine where your shirt is, like so. So, see how I have the blue side up? That's the side that's going to have the blue thread. The white side that's down is going to have the white thread. And then you're going to use your bobby pins and all of those things. I call them bobby pins, I think that's the wrong term. And you just start sewing and taking them out slowly. You have to do it slow and pace yourself. I'm using my knee on the pedal because I don't have my sewing table right now. It kind of broke. So I'm using my stool for the sewing machine table, and I'm using my knee. And you have to go slow with this. Make sure you're doing straight lines and everything, and make sure it's all even when you're going down. And there's no creases or wrinkles. While I'm sitting here and watching me sew, with this, the reasons why, there's many different ways I make costumes. The way I make costumes are that if you want me to make it out of recycling materials, I can basically use recycling materials. With that, I can use t-shirts from like Goodwill or anything like that, and I can teach you how to do that and go shopping for clothes like that. If you want me to, I can make a video about it if you would like. But with this shirt, I put an iron on the back of it with the size, the type of material it is, how you're supposed to wash it. And I'm sorry you will hear my son in the background. I apologize. But usually with my costumes, I put like a symbol or a mark on them telling me what size material, what fabric they're made out of, and all that stuff usually, and then I take it off when I give it to my customer with directions, how to clean it, take care of it. With this type of thing, when I'm sewing, I also use my serger, which is my really big sewing machine, but right here I'm just showing you a type of style without using the serger right here. And this time around, this is pretty simple. This is a straight stitch, the tightest straight stitch I have on my sewing machine. And I usually mark my sewing machine of which stitches that I like to use on costumes with a Sharpie on my sewing machine. It's like a little red dot or a blue dot or a green dot of which setting and level I like to use. If you like to do that, leave in the comments below. That would be freaking great. That I would not be the only one doing this. Alright, right here I'm taking it and I'm going to check the shirt and everything like that to make sure it's all right. Alright, what I'm doing now is just cleaning up all the threads and everything and neatening it up. Then we're going to switch the white bobbin up and we're going to put it up as the main thread, and then we're going to switch the blue bobbin over and turn it to the bobbin for where the white was. So in the sewing machine, sorry, my son keeps trying to grab my mic. So I do show that I'm moving them and switching them here. It's the lovely funness of doing this. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sure the sleeve is inside out now. and the shirt's inside out. And we're going to sew the edge of it down on the top at the end that is like, that pops up. I don't know how to explain that very much, but it pops up. And we're doing still a straight stitch, and this does not involve anything special, this is just a straight stitch once again, and we're going to do that to both sides. That side, one sleeve, and then we're going to do the other sleeve. Right after that, I'm going to check it, make sure it's all neat and everything. What happens is when you pull the shirt right side out, it's going to have 2 stitches that are blue, and they show up very nice and neat, and it makes it look very neat. And that's what I'm doing right here with the next sleeve. You have to make sure you're still going straight and your thread is not in the way and the shirt doesn't get sewn up and clumpy. And you just clean it up, clean it up, and clean it up. Now, with your collar, if you homemade your collar, I'll probably maybe do a tutorial about that in the future. But if you're doing a collar from another t-shirt, make sure you leave like enough area for the sewing. And you just straight stitch that on after you've placed it in the correct position, making sure it's center of the back and the back center of the collar and the ends are great. And you just sew that on, and I think you do it twice. I want to make sure if I did that right. Yeah, I think I did that twice. I sewed it twice. Yeah, I sewed it twice. Once again, the white thread is on the top and the blue thread is in the bottom. If I'm saying the correct terms, I'm unsure. I just sew, usually. But we just sew it twice, and then we make sure we sew it down, once again like we did with the sleeve, onto the shirt, and make sure it looks nice and neat and everything. And right here, we're sewing the edge where we cut it down the center. So what you do is you fold the cut in inwards and basically roll it until it's flat and you don't have a cut in hanging out anywhere. And you're just sewing it straight, and you kind of see how I'm rolling it, and then fold it flat, make sure it's all straight and neat. And I want to make sure it meets up with the collar. And then after you do all of that, you just clean it up, and then do it again. You sew it twice because you want to make sure it doesn't like clump up and roll up while you're wearing it, and you want it to be stiff and straight, nice and neat. And just like it has starch in it, but it's not, it's just fabric. And then you do the same thing to the other side of it, but you also want to make sure you cut it where you have the button spot hanging off. I had to cut that and make sure I had enough room and everything, and that's where I cut it just now. And I sew down and make sure I sew everything and make sure it's neat. If you're going to turn your fabric, you want to make sure your needle's down in the fabric and the foot is lifted. But then you lower the foot after you've turned your fabric and you start sewing again. I've made several mistakes in the past where I forgot to put the needle down. So yeah, mistakes in the past. Learn things in the future, don't you? Practice, practice. And right here I've just done the same thing, and I'm just going to make sure this one's nice and thicker than the other one, and wider. So I'm going to lower the foot. Oh, I don't do that in this one. Ooh, yay, I don't have to worry about that. Sorry about that, I cut away. But right here, it's both blue fabric threads. It's not white and blue, it's just blue and blue. And I just keep sewing, and now I'm doing the button spot. Do you do got it? Sorry guys, my son keeps trying to grab my microphone. I tried doing this without him right there, but he kind of like cries. But and I just keep sewing that, and it takes a while, so we're gonna just let that play, I mean. Alright, here is the yellow. I just use fabric. I don't buy ribbon or edging, I just make it myself. So you see me folding sewing the two ends, make sure it's long enough for the shirt. Now I'm folding it over, seeing what I would like to use is the correct thickness or wide, and then I just start folding away while I'm sewing, and just keep sewing it all the way through with the yellow material, fabric, if you would like to call it fabric. Just keep sewing it until you have it all the way down to the end, and this goes on the end of your shirt, the bottom. Makes it look nice and neat. Just want to make sure it's straight too. Your stitch. Once again, it's a straight stitch, the tightest and the smallest stitch I do. I'm using yellow thread that matches. Now the bottom, the bobbin is blue thread and the top thread is yellow. So it doesn't have like the yellow thread on both sides. Once again. And we just sew it on the bottom. I had it marked from earlier when I sewed it down on the end of the shirt. So I'm sewing the bottom half first, and then I'll sew the top half of the fabric on, so it has two threads, and I'm trying to make it neat. So you're going to cut about like an inch, and you're going to fold it over and sew that too, and make sure it's on the inside and make it neat and everything, and you'll be cutting like 50 pieces off. And hey look, it's my kitty cat Zelda in the background, and my baby laughing. Now we're just cleaning up and sewing again. Right here, once again, we're just doing a straight stitch. You gotta make sure it's straight, and you're trying your best to make sure it's even. That is always a struggle because my sewing machine is a bit crooked, and I have a certain way I have to sew it. I don't know what happened. I think it was dropped when it was brought to me, so I have to go get it fixed. But I know how to sew it straight. It takes a while to figure it out, but it works. Right here, I took whatever excess that I cut off and I made the pockets. Well, an illusion of the pockets. I will show you how to make pockets in the future, but right here is just an illusion. This costume's for a little kid. He wanted it for Halloween, and he was a family friend of mine, so I'm making this for him. Right here, and this is why I was making a tutorial here, because I thought it was kind of neat. And so we just sew it and everything, and I'm making sure it's strong and sturdy. Just the needles down and sew it upwards. Make it look like an illusion, but it works really well. How I made sure the pockets were even on both sides, I folded the shirt in half, and then I placed the two ends on and sewed it. But here's the finished product. I will show you how I made the cap later in the future, and that was very fun to do. And I hope he loves the costume. Make sure you have a yellow button. I'm sorry that I left out how I made the hole for the button. You can look up some tutorials how to do that, or I'll probably make one in the future. Please subscribe, leave comments below. Comments, questions below, and leave a like if you want more. Thank you guys.